But yeah, the
Hey,
fucking
hey, Ray. Never knock me down, Ray.
You never knock me down, Ray.
You never knock me down, Ray.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be an entertainer. To me, being an entertainer was better than being president of the United States. Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent big ugly himself, Omari Feo Grande on YouTube, back with another episode of This Guy Hasn't Seen. And yeah, and I am joined as usual by my co-host and runner mate, one of my best friends in the world, El Director himself, Bill Smith.
Omari, thank you for having me back as always. Sorry for distracting you. Um, I am here to bring movies to your eyeballs. It is my calling in life. It is what I love to do, and I will keep doing it forever and ever and ever. Um, and this week is a double. I doubled up. I did a double feature. I've been doing them a lot more recently. I'm sorry, Omari. We'll get back to you. But for now, I've been hitting these Martin Scorsese joints, and so I just kind of wanted to do them in succession and us not take a break in between them. So this week we are watching Goodfellas from 1990. It is rated R, the story of Henry Hill and his life in the mafia, covering his relationship with his wife Karen and his mob partners Jimmy Conway and Tommy DeVito. It is based on true stories, directed by Martin Scorsese, written by Nicholas Pelleggi, Martin Scorsese, and it stars Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, and Joe Pesci. Omari, this is another one of those classic American films.
Yep.
Why has Omari never seen it?
80th verse, same as the first. Oh, no. In a similar fashion to Godfather, I kind of lumped it in with those just mafia gangster movies.
Yeah,
Now
which
I
would be accurate.
was colloquial based off of watching, what I saw today. I was a lot more colloquially familiar with it. A lot of bits and pieces from it that have been parodied or whatever. Uh, I won't say it in the what you call it things, but because it's good enough to mention it here. But the first time I heard him say that, as far back as I can remember, line, I thought about the good feathers from Animaniacs, who are clearly a parody of this. Because every episode of Good Feathers started with the main character going as far back as I can remember, and they were a mafia thing. The angry one was clearly a Pesci parody.
I forgot about Good Feathers. Yes.
Yeah, the Pesci character was in that, and even as a kid, barely knowing anything about Pesci, I probably saw him in two things, and I knew that guy was meant to be a parody of Pesci, but not necessarily from Good Feathers. I
Yep.
don't know why I never put. I said from Good Feathers, from
Yep.
Goodfellas. I don't know why I never put those two together. Probably because they had the God Pigeon as part of it, because that was another one. But then again, me as a kid, you're literally putting Good Feathers and Godfather together in your reference that the parents are going to get that their kids don't.
Yeah.
So, including the God pigeon going, and no one understanding what he says except for like the big one that was like, oh, the God pigeon says so so. So that was the main reason. Getting older, it was just like, do I have 2.5 hours to sit down and watch it?
We've talked about that before where there's a point where movies feel like a chore. When it gets to the point where you have to watch this, oh my God, Omari, you have to watch this. You haven't seen blah, blah, blah. Now you've built in expectations, requirements. I'm somebody who balks at authority. I don't like doing what I'm told. I don't like doing what I have to do. You've just given me a chore. Thank you. Thank you. You've now given me an obligation that I am then not going to do and then going to feel bad about not doing. And it's all your fault.
Pretty much, yeah. Uh, yeah, so that's kind of what it was with that. Yeah, that's I don't really need to go any further. I would have ended up talking in circles.
Let's just jump right into it. So
So yeah,
it gets going. And we
yeah,
have our opening scene in the car.
yeah.
And then the trunk
The trunk's banging, and they're like, "What's going on?"
all
Turns
the way
out,
up to the freeze narration. Give me your thoughts. Yeah.
um, well, that escalated quickly. I guess could be one. But the first note I had is, this narration is similar to Goodfellas. At which point I'm like, I guess that makes sense. Because, like I said, the second he said, as far back as I can remember, I'm like, Goodfellas? Oh, Goodfellas. Okay. Yep. That's what he was parodying. Okay. Uh, but so that was
Hey, this
cool.
movie is referencing Goodfeathers.
Well, I knew that Goodfellas came after. But the main character clearly wanted to be a gangster, got pretty much groomed to be a villain by the local mob. They're like, oh, hey, kid, come do this. What? Your
Yeah.
parents don't like you hanging around with us? See how easy it is to be a villain? You can do whatever you want. Yeah. So he does that. His dad was abusive enough. His dad was abusive to an extent, whooping his ass out of nowhere, just so I can see why he went to the life of crime, especially because the mafia dudes don't fuck around about nothing. Like every time someone even slightly crosses one of them, they just go rough somebody up, shoot them, do whatever the hell they
Mhm.
want. And then, yeah. Second, Jimmy enters the scene. Okay, this guy's clearly bad news. Like, clearly. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
this is that era of Robert De Niro where he just exudes evil.
which is a different De Niro from what I'm used to. I don't know.
In like
Like I've seen a lot
modern
of I've seen a lot of like funny De Niro.
dad vibe
Yeah,
De
funny
Niro.
dad vibe De Niro, not
Yeah.
evil gangster De Niro or evil, Italian.
Even in serious films now, he's a mentor figure but yeah, the like you said, the second he's on camera and he's actually smiling and goofing
Yeah,
around with some
everybody loves
guys.
him, but I just
Uh
know
yeah,
he's bad news.
yeah,
Especially like,
you just
and
can
that was the
feel it.
day. That was the day I met Jimmy, whatever his last name was. Uh, I'm not gonna get it right. That's the day I met Jimmy, and Jimmy, so I knew Jimmy was bad news. I love the speaking of standouts. The first time I think they go to the bamboo lounge, there's a big one shot coming from the outside, and he's like going over all the names of the people. There was,
Hey, how
Billy
you doing?
Bats, yeah,
Hey, yo. Ah,
yeah.
yeah.
As you go through, and I had to rewind because after a while I was like, wait, is this a one shot?
Yep. Yeah, it's a
What?
Martin that's a Scorsese staple that will come to be is like a he gets at least one, sometimes a few, like we will mention later, oneers in there. And yeah,
Yeah.
this is a fun one where they're completely breaking the wall. Everybody's looking directly to camera. It's like a POV style shot, and yeah, it's just all the names of Frankie Batts and Tommy Two Tone and are
Yeah, Timmy
uh
two times or something like that. He
he
always
got
says
that
two
name
things
because he
twice.
says everything twice. Yeah.
I'm gonna go check the papers. Check the papers. Only line in the movie. I was kind of hoping he'd come back and say something like he'd be a recurring like gimmick, but it's literally that one time. I'm gonna go check the papers. Check the papers.
No.
But that was cool. But yeah, early on, you see that we get the classic funny guy scene, which, like I said, if I didn't know immediately just from the start, like, yeah, that makes sense, Pesci, boop, 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 definitely would have screamed Pesci at me. Also, I've seen that scene. That clip pops up all the time.
Yeah. I
What
mean,
am I
yeah, that
funny?
was
Funny how? You're a funny guy.
yeah. Yeah, there were always, like, before the age of the internet, when BuzzFeed kind of took it over, the what we now know of as like listicles used to be television shows for us when we were kids. And there were always a series of shows doing countdowns of the best lines in film, or the best scenes in film, or the best films, and doing top hundreds and or top 20s or whatever. And this was always featured in those kind of things. And then also, like you said, constantly parodied and referenced. The I think the one thing that's lost, because it's become such a piece of pop culture, is how evil
Oh my
uh,
god. Yeah,
Pesci is in it. Like,
yeah.
it's kind of been morphed into just a group of guys having fun and goofing off and playing around with each other thing. And yeah, it's a really, like,
Yeah,
yeah, fucked
yeah.
up,
Because dude is
dominating kind
actually
of.
kind of scared. Like, what are you? uh, You were joking. Because I'm at the computer. I'm like, you would literally just had the whole table laughing. What do you mean? What do you mean, funny? You know what I mean? You clearly like telling stories and making people laugh. What are we talking about here? I mean, look, I'm here to amuse you. Yeah, but also one of his little, because he throughout the film snaps on people repeatedly, has horrible anger issues. Even from someone like me, I can say he's got horrible anger issues. Um, I can be honest. But there's one particular snapping where right before he like attacks the guy, he yells like "sit," and pretty much that was that pigeons, like the Pesci pigeons thing. That every episode someone would say something, he'd take it the wrong way, get mad, yell "that's it," and then just go into a fucking fight. So I was like, that's sorry, folks at home. Hey, I'm wearing a fucking Dragon Ball shirt. Okay, I may make geeky references when I watch these things. The bottom line is,
Yeah, I
uh,
completely forgot about pigeon, or good feathers, and it was hilarious. And yeah,
yeah,
I can totally see if that's in the forefront of your mind, um, thinking about that constantly while watching this, because it's
yeah.
the thing that you saw first
Yeah, and it was
before
one of,
watching
and it
the
was,
original product.
and of all the little like side characters, they were like, they weren't like Pinky and the Brain or any of those motherfuckers, but they were
Uh-huh.
still like one of my favorite things to watch. Like, oh, good feathers. I like the angry one. Uh, but no. Oh, that said, I do like Pesci's performance, and I like everybody's performance in these things. Something goes across a lot of Scorsese movies, brings a lot of good acting performances out of his place character or out of his performers. Or you could just say
Absolutely.
he knows the right performers who can give him the performance he wants. Either way, good performances around. And yeah, but yeah,
Joe
early on
Pesci, Oscar winner for
for
best
this,
supporting actor in this film. Yep.
nice, nice. I did not know Pesci won an Oscar. It's awesome. Here, I thought Pesci was an underappreciated actor because that's something I was thinking while I watched it. I'm like, Pesci's kind of underappreciated.
Real quick, I wanted to jump back, since I think from here we're probably just gonna be throwing out random standout moments.
Sure.
Wanted to jump back to one of my early favorite scenes, and that's so he meets Jimmy, and him and Tommy are kids playing younger folks. And one, I love the casting they did for young Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
They both have so similar vibes. Later, like, there's moments later on in the film where Ray Liotta will like look up and to the left, and like make this and put this smile on his face, and it's just like exactly looking like the kid. So that's really cool. But he meets Jimmy and they start selling cigarettes. And Henry gets pinched for the very first time. And because he goes through it like a man and also does not give anything up to the cops, they are there at the courthouse as he walks out the door to celebrate
I did have a note
him.
about that. I
I
never
think
got
one
where
of them yells, "You popped your cherry."
and
Uh, um,
they were
I,
so happy celebrating its Caucasian. Got
yeah,
pinched. Yeah.
you're your first arrest. Oh, my little boy, it's official now. You're one of us. And just that kind of stuff. That's a really sweet moment. And that
But I
kind of
got
caps
pinched. You
off
didn't
the
give him nothing. You
younger
ain't tell him
Henry.
nothing. You ain't do so.
Right.
Two rules: never rat out your friends, and whatever the other rule is, you're probably gonna break both of these by the end of the film. One of the two of us is gonna break this rule of never ratting out your friends. Otherwise, I wouldn't be telling you right now with such emphasis. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
It's one of those moments where it's like, okay, somebody's breaking that rule about ratting out their friends. But and I thought it was gonna be Jimmy. I'm not gonna lie to you, just because I didn't trust Jimmy. It might have been because I just came off of watching Raging Bull, where he was an asshole for the whole movie and looked very similar. But let me tell you, just everything about Jimmy, I'm just like, this guy's bad news. But the movie's going, and we get the early thing. We get introduced to the love interest, and I thought it was weird at first, just the whole first date that was. They neither of them wanted to talk to each other. He had a job he was trying to do, so he was getting out of there. Just treated her like shit the whole time.
I mean, they're both the friends. They're both the friends of the people who are trying to date.
Yeah,
And yeah, so that first date is super awkward. And I mean, it's mostly on Ray Liotta. Like he blames her for not
yeah,
being engaging, but he is completely
yeah,
he's rude. He's rude to her and the whole table
yeah.
as a whole.
I ordered
Like
dessert by the time they ordered their appetizers. When they were trying
yeah.
to get something, I was ordering the check. Then he just
Um
drags her out with them, just like, no, we gotta go.
yeah, and then still Joe Pesci books another double date for them, and to which he stands her up, and then she goes to their little mobster pizza place clubhouse thing, and her being all defiant and yelling at him in front of his boys gets his
Yeah,
motor running. Like and I love because so Lorraine Bracco in this film is amazing. She was nominated in Best Supporting Actress for this award. It went to Whoopi Goldberg in Ghost, which is another incredible performance, but it's a different performance. So
yeah,
I can see people arguing and being upset with the highly dramatic role of Karen by Lorraine
yeah.
Bracco in this film, but also Whoopi Goldberg is doing incredible work in Ghost.
Yeah, it's
It's
been a
just
minute since I've
different,
seen Ghost, but yeah, off the top of my head, I think it should have gone to Goodfellas
and
check.
it's also one of the few Oscars that's honoring a mostly comedic performance. So I kind of don't want to touch that.
Yeah,
I kind of want to
exactly.
leave that be. And I also think that's kind of partly why people hate on that year and that award is because it's Whoopi doing a lot of comedy. But she does it incredibly. And she
Yeah,
also has dramatic moments in that film that she does incredibly because Whoopi Goldberg is an incredible actress. But regardless, yeah, she does a great job and Ray Liotta is so good. And yeah, the chemistry of them in this scene where she shows up and starts yelling at him and they're immediately just throwing vibes, like throwing like F me eyes back at each
yeah,
other. It's yeah, I immediately love it. And I love from here on we kind of were maybe not till the end of the film, but for a good chunk of this movie here for a minute, we're kind of getting a dual perspective film.
Yeah.
Pretty soon Karen is going to start getting her very own narration,
Yeah.
just
Just
like Henry does. We're going to start seeing scenes from the mob wife, mob girlfriend perspective of the world, which these films typically don't go into. I find that very interesting. But just her entire thing is so wonderful when they're doing the wedding and she's just constantly like shocked and surprised of
like all the
everything that's
people.
going on.
It's
And
just like,
yeah,
oh, there's a lot of Peters and Pauls, and they all got daughters named Marie. And it's interesting how
they're
they
all
know
handing me
these people. They're
envelopes
all
with
handing
hundreds
envelopes with
in them.
hundreds in them. Yeah. What do you say?
uh Honey, that or yeah, Henry, that bag is just filled with thousands of dollars. What are we gonna do with it? And he's just like, don't worry about it. It's
Yeah.
like
No one,
nobody
no one
nobody
here
is
is
gonna
gonna
take
steal
that
that.
bag of money.
Yeah. Yeah. They. But
Like
yeah,
this may be
just
the safest place in the planet right now for that bag of money. We're good.
and I like
Yeah, but
their whole.
I love her just like wild-eyed nature
Mhm. Yeah.
of the early stuff of it.
Yeah,
Getting
as they're
arriving at the
dating, they're
Copa.
doing all the stuff, and he's like arranging stuff, and she's just like, "What did you say you do? Construction? You ain't doing." I'm like, she is not buying this construction shit.
Uh-huh.
Ain't no way she actually thinks you're in
Oh
construction at
yeah,
this point.
yeah,
And
when
then
they go to
she
the
almost immediately has the narration. I knew something was up, but in all honesty, that just made him hotter.
oh yeah, that's later on when yeah, they're because like first I want to talk about the Copa where we have the second one shot of them coming through the back of the club and going through the kitchen and he's the whole time he's just like, "Hey, yeah, what's up? Hi, yeah. Hey, no problem." And like and then and then the maitre d comes into frame and the maitre d immediately makes like, "Oh, Mr. Henry, yes sir." We'll just and somebody just walks in carrying a table and puts it down in the front of the stay in the front. Like she's just like, what the who the hell are you? And what do you do? I'm in construction. Bullshit. But yeah, later on, the little nerdy dude that we meet, or then he's not a nerdy dude, he's just like, a dorky,
Morris or whatever.
not Henry type, that we meet earlier, is revealed to have physically come on to
Oh, that guy, Bruce from across the street,
yeah,
that
yeah,
motherfucker.
to Karen. And then yeah, that's when Henry drives her home and then he is out in his driveway and he makes the mistake of just being like, "What's up? Yeah, you gonna do something now?" And Henry just beats his face in with the butt of a gun real bad several times and then aims it at the two buddies that were standing with him and then just walks back, puts the blood-covered gun in Karen's hand, says, "Hide this." And yeah, that's when we get the freeze of just like it was in this moment that I knew that everything that was going on was wrong, but I was turned on and I wanted to continue. And so, yeah,
Yeah, she's like, I probably
dove
should
in the
have
deep
left.
end.
She's like, I probably should have left right then and there, but I didn't. She's like, to be honest, I was turned on. So here we go. But yeah, the first time she even introduced the dude, I just typed in my notes, not Bruce from across the street. Like, and nothing could have turned out well. Either he was gonna get jealous of her talking to him and take it out on her, or Bruce was about to get his ass whooped. And then he did the terrible thing to her where he apparently assaulted her, or at least came on to her way, way, way too heavily, or something along those lines. Um,
Yeah, physically assaulted her
yeah, he
is what
physically
she
assaulted.
describes.
Yeah, so yeah, I was right. Physically assaulted her. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, he deserves this now. Let's go. Beats his ass. And so far, yeah, they're criminals, they're mob people, but we're doing good. We're doing good,
It's theft.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
just
little rough housing. Like
falling.
Henry tries to explain it earlier of like these are the people that can't go to the police. And so they need somebody to go to. And we provide that service.
And for now, at least, because this is how these mafia movies go, we're still in the good giving back to the community phase. Everybody
Yeah.
loves us. We haven't done the terrible shit yet.
It's still the 70s, and
Yeah.
we're not realizing that we could make $1 million off of drugs.
Yeah.
It's just gambling and things falling off of trucks.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
yeah, and paying protection services. Uh but yeah, we do a time skip at this point, and so now things are a little bit more developed. Henry's a little bit bigger in the family, or in the
Because he had a
operation.
successful France job or something.
He owns his own bar
Mhm.
that they frequently drink at. One Italian gentleman who just got out of prison, Mr. Billy Bats, enjoying some libations at the at Henry's bar, when unfortunately Mr. Hot Temper, Tommy, comes in, and uh Billy Bats knew Tommy when he was a little boy. Tommy apparently was a shoe shine boy when he was younger. Billy Bats gives him a little shit, little bit of shit about being a shoe shine boy, about how he shined Billy Bats' shoes at one point in his life, and
And Leona tells him, or Henry tells him, hey, don't, hey, back off. And he also tells him, he's just busting your balls, man. It's cool. And he tried to back off. Yeah, well, tries is a strong word, but he reluctantly backs off. He's like, well, I still don't like him busting my balls, blah, 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 blah. He's like, okay, now shine my fucking shoes. And yeah.
yeah, like De Niro was like, you went a little too far, or what
You
was
went a
it?
little too far.
You were a
Yeah, you,
little,
you went a little
you
too
were a
far.
little, you insulted him a
Yeah, because
little bit. You
they
insulted him.
made him step out, and he's like, I don't know what he's so mad about. And Jimmy's like, you did insult him a little bit. You did push him. You did push him a little bit. Maybe don't do that. And then he comes in. He's like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm like blah temper. Good. Now shine my fucking shoes. You're just asking for it at this point. Like, and sure enough, once everybody leaves, motherfucker comes back. And I literally typed in my thing like for standout moments: death of Billy Bats, likely the beginning of the undoing. Because everything was going like pretty smoothly, and I'm like, there's gotta be some kind of shit's falling apart. Oh, he just killed this guy, and then as he explains, Billy Bats was a made guy. You can't kill made guys without going through the proper channels. And I'm like, yeah, that's gonna fire. And but conversely, it also shows like how close the three of those guys were, at least.
Yeah, that it's just kind of like, all right, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
If
And
one of us makes this kind of move, we all make the move. We all, like, Jimmy was Jimmy immediate, he's always the second guy in the pile. If you go, like, his fist is landing 0.2 seconds after your fist lands if you throw a punch with him. Um so he's always ready to go. And yeah, they're, like you said, this is a downfall moment. This is when they have to start lying to Paulie.
yeah,
Um
because
and yeah,
Paul is like, hey, folks are asking about this. Do you know anything? I don't know nothing. He disappeared. Okay, let me know. Because Paulie's been trusting him that whole life. But yeah,
this is
they
also when this is around the same time of the movie where we get explained that Saturdays are for the wives, but Fridays are for the girlfriends.
yeah, I
And
was like, does
everybody
everyone
has
cheat
their
on their
own
wives
girl,
in these movies?
because they have so much money, Omari, that they have to start paying for a secondary life. They have to start paying the equivalents of living a second life, with rents and girlfriends with allowances and all that shit, because they just have way too much money. Is my thought on it, at least to going to this level where all of them get one.
Yeah, they
kind of
all
thing.
like
Like Friday is for the girlfriends. It's a phrase. Um, and yeah, there's a lot of time spent in this section of the movie on how much time Henry is spending with his girlfriend and how Karen's not your typical mob wife and has is it's starting like it's been bubbling over for too long and it's exploding now.
yeah,
So you do get that one scene where Paulie has to, and you know it's a big deal when Paulie has to make a move on anything, and Paulie has to show up at Henry's girlfriend's place with Jimmy, and they're like, "Listen, you have to go home." Like, but no, this
yeah,
is like we're basically telling you this is an order. Like you're gonna go home because that bitch is crazy and she's gonna kill us all or put us all in jail or something.
yeah.
Like,
They're like, no, you gotta go home. We do this job in Florida. Come back. You go back home to your wife. Job in Florida goes south because the guy that they threatened, his sister was a typist or something like that for the FBI. Like, what are the odds of that? And so they go to jail for a few years and live a life of luxury as far as jail's concerned. At least for the first part, while Paulie's still there. But dude gets hooked on pills while he's in prison.
yeah, start selling because the I guess the mob rule is you get cut out visibly and financially when you go to prison so that you have no connection to the
Yeah.
family anymore, at least for for the time being. um so yeah, his there's no money coming into his family, and we've already seen that Karen likes to live large. She's
Yes.
okay with living in a certain lifestyle, and so does he, although he's in prison. So yeah, they have to make money, and his way is to start selling drugs in prison.
Yeah. Start selling the drugs in prison. Paulie gets out first. There's the whole scene where she comes in and she's like sees the other girl's name on the registry for having visited him.
Oh,
And so she says, "Why don't you let her hide this shit? Hide this shit." And I'm
that's
like,
rough.
"No, I
Yeah,
know
that's
you're
rough.
mad. You're very justified in being mad right now, but please stop pulling stuff out on the floor." Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I can't be mad at her. Like, God damn it, this woman's ruining everything. No, I can't. She's very justified to be this pissed off. Conversely, I don't want more. I don't want our main character to get in trouble because you're pulling out stuff just in the open like you're doing.
Yep.
But that's the good thing about films, the conflict within ourselves. That's real life. Um, but yeah, gets out of prison and now he's doing drugs. Like
Uh-huh.
Paulie doesn't like it, tells him right off the bat, "Don't treat me like a jerk. I already know you're into doing the drug deal. Stop it." "I'm not doing anything, Paulie." Lied again. Fuck.
Yeah. And I love the guy doing that because yeah, he gives this like pause and sigh, like God, it's just like I, you lied to my face,
Yeah.
and I'm going to continue giving you another opportunity. Okay, all right, despite you lying to my face. Yeah, I really love Paulie. And yeah, like you said, it's just all downhill from here. I mean, yeah, the drugs, although make it there's all kinds of movies on it. Although it's gonna make you that quick money comes at a price.
Especially
And
when you start doing your own supply.
yeah, especially on the level that him and Karen do clearly are doing it. Because yeah, they are
Him,
fucking
Karen,
out
and
of their
side piece
minds.
number two.
Right, exactly. Um, but then the big kind of the big climactic downfall, I would say, is honestly a success. Is Jimmy's big job.
The Latamsa job. Yep. at the airport.
that is successful. However, it is just it is the delusion of
Everything from there.
everything.
Because Jimmy
Everything.
gets super paranoid that someone's gonna rat him out. A lot of the people can't handle their newfound success. They're doing the American gangster. Hey, here's a big fur coat for my wife.
We get we get
That's the big
what became a classic, the Layla montage. Just a montage of bodies being found
oh yeah.
with the yeah, with the
As he's like
Layla,
killing people and stuff.
the Eric Clapton's Layla as
Gotcha.
the score. Um, but yeah,
No.
as all the bodies are being revealed of everybody that Jimmy is doing. And then in the course of all of this, all of a sudden, hey, good news, everybody. Tommy is going to be a made man, which is great because Henry's Irish. Henry's half Irish, so he can never be a made man. And what is Jimmy? Jimmy's not Italian,
He's Irish. They're
so
both
he's
Irish.
so he can never be a made man. So Tommy's the only one of the crew that could actually make it happen. And it's basically if he's a made man, it's gonna
Then you
basically be
can't
like
mess
they're
with
a
them
made
because
man.
they're with him.
Yeah. So it's just everything's coming up roses.
But me, I'm like, why? When he mentioned the Irish thing, I'm like, okay, maybe. Because at first I'm like, why Tommy? Paulie, you even told him in your whole don't do drugs, you also told him to watch out for Jimmy and Tommy. So why are you making Tommy a made man? Huh, anyway, why are you making Tommy a made man? And so, like you said, it seems like it's good news until it isn't. He just walks in the room. Ah, son of a.
Yeah.
And yeah, they found out about Billy Bats. They realized it was him. They took him out.
It was yeah. Henry says in narration that it was a contracted deal made between the families as reparations for Billy Batts's death.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, Tommy's gone, and it's fucking quick too. With like there's a lot of buildup in the drive, and like it's him getting made, but like the
The kill itself is just
here's the truth, death, cut to the next scene
yeah, cut to De
is like
Niro
boom,
finding
boom,
out.
boom.
Yeah, it's crazy. Good. I like De Niro's reaction as well, finding out about it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because it also shows that
Wonder if
Jim
that phone booth is supposed to fall over, or if that's just
yeah,
it's
and
just De
that's what's
Niro.
crazy about the Jimmy character is in that moment you can tell he actually cared about Tommy. And
Oh yeah.
like as much of an evil jackass and especially paranoid jackass that he started to become,
Uh-huh.
you're like, okay, yeah, he's tripping. But he still had his moments where it's like, no, he does care about the other two. He cares about those two. He may not care about nobody else, but he care about those two. But you also know with Tommy dying that when you have one of those motherfuckers that has very few soft spots, when you take away one of those, that's maximum off the deep end. And I think that's also what furthered to him, like, just, I don't trust nobody now. Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, it's
Everybody
a
dead.
yeah, this is the point where Henry's just like Henry's a fucked up mess because both him and his wife think that Jimmy's trying to kill him, which he probably is. And at the same time he thinks that helicopters are constantly flying overhead hunting him down. They probably are, and because he's a giant drug kingpin at this point. um and yeah, he is just, and everything is falling apart on top of him while being a massive coke addict.
Yeah, Helicopter Dave was crazy. Just look at this shit. And the second the runner chick was like, "Well, before we go to the airport, I need to get my hat." I'm like, I don't buy this hat shit. Sure enough, go outside, and there's the fucking cops. Wife flushes the coke, grabs a gun, and I'm like, oh, the wife is dead. She didn't die. I also thought she was gonna die when Jimmy told her to go down to the corner and go in that like room
Oh
for her the
yeah,
coke.
her running. That was. I think. That's what I was saying. I think he was
Yeah,
trying to kill him. He's like, yeah. That. I think that was Jimmy trying to off her, and she luckily saw it coming and ran away. It could have just been her paranoid self, and she actually would have just gotten some dresses. But it feels like
but
that's
with the way Jimmy was acting,
uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah.
because he was trying to get rid of everybody that knew about that job.
So yeah,
Uh,
he Henry gets arrested, and what does he do?
he rats
The
out
one golden rule.
everybody.
Everybody straight up
Everybody.
in the middle of the courtroom, they make him do the like, do you know who this is? Can you recognize him? Do you see him in the courtroom today? Point at him. Paulie. Like that's like although you know
I
they're
was upset.
all yeah,
I was
although you
upset
know
when
they're all
Paul did
bad
it.
guys, your heart breaks when he like points out when he points Paulie.
Yeah.
It's
It's like
crushing.
Jimmy had this shit coming, sure. Whatever. Like I like Jimmy, but you reap what you sow, Jimmy. Paulie ain't never really like, yeah, they're criminals, like you said. They are bad guys. They're the fucking mafia. But we never really see Paulie do
Yeah.
this terrible shit. He just kind of tells them not to get into deep shit. He seems like one of those guys that's like, it's a similar thing that I see in anime sometimes with the Yakuza, where the old head Yakuzas are like, back in our day, it was just a little small shit. These kids come in with the drugs and now they're all extra violent and a doopadoo. It's literally like that same kind of vibe of, I was trying to keep it the old school way. Yeah, we were mafia, but we were trying to do it for the people. You know, there's levels to this. There's a reason the cops took our money and looked the other way. It's not like we were killing other cops or selling drugs or
We were
dealing with
selling
things.
cigarettes at a slightly cheaper price.
Yeah. At a net loss, even like less than what they are worth sometimes, he would say it.
Right.
He was like, who cares? We didn't buy it. It's all profit.
Yeah. They're free to them. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what we were doing. But now Paul, and he even tried to tell him, my buddy, he got in prison because he said hello to one of these drug motherfuckers. So don't do drugs. And I don't want to be that. And now he's, you know, getting arrested for that. And I'm like, oh. But yeah, everybody else, fuck him. I just didn't want Paulie to go to jail. Paulie did
Yeah.
very little wrong. But yeah, then he goes into witness protection, gets a new life with his wife, who apparently eventually leaves him. At one point, though, she should have pulled when she was straddled over him with the gun. I was like, she should have pulled the trigger right there. That's gonna come back to bite her. Because I'm thinking it's gonna turn out like fucking Jake LaMotta or somebody else, where it's just full on domestic abuse. Which he had moments. He did have moments, but
Yep.
he didn't go full LaMotta. Uh,
Don't ever go full Amada.
never. But yeah.
Yeah. All right, buddy. So now you've seen two Scorsese films. What do you think? What do you think of Goodfellas?
So what I think of Goodfellas is much like the other films, very solid. I can understand its place amongst the classics in the, lexicon that is American cinema. Far as Scorsese as a whole, I touched on it earlier because it also portrays this movie. The performances he can get out of his actors, or the actors he chooses that are capable of pulling off the performances, they are, whatever it is. Clearly, he's a De Niro fan, being in multiple of his films. And I mean, who isn't at this point? Also, clearly a Pesci fan as well. Which I think is cool. I like the fact that he did that. I saw what you were talking about, where you touched on his whole reputation for being having an affinity toward villains and bad
Uh-huh.
guy types, because often his characters are not only just villains, but they also have the super flawed aspect where they either cheating on their wife or beating them. Uh, so I'm like, yeah, that was what I'm like. These dudes love fucking cheating on their wives in these movies. Jesus Christ. It's just like openly cheating and then just turn it to their wife like, so I'm cheating, so what? Go make me a sandwich, bitch. It's like, damn. And so, but I will say, compared to LaMotta, Henry's a lot more likable, even though he has those things. He's clearly not a good person. Also the ratting everybody out. Ratting Paulie out when you're the one selling the fucking drugs. Whatever. Yeah, like I'm kind of mad about that. But
Yeah.
Scorsese as a whole, I understand why he's so beloved as a director. I've enjoyed the 3 or 4 Scorsese films we watched. We
I
didn't.
think we've done 3.
Okay. I've enjoyed all 3, so that's good. Um, yeah, I don't really have a problem with Goodfellas. I'm happy that I saw it. It definitely would be something I would watch again, or at least have on like in the background often when it comes on and stuff, as opposed to changing the channel because I don't know shit about this movie and it's not the very beginning, which has been other times that's happened with Goodfellas because it has been in syndication. Is that what it is when you're put on TV just randomly syndicated?
Sure.
Yeah, it's been in that for a long time. So yes, you flip on the WB or the CW. Oh, there's this mafia movie. Oh, I don't know shit about it. I'm changing the channel. But
Mm-hmm.
now I don't have to. I can be like, ah, shit, here it goes. It's this part of the movie. I like this part type stuff.
Right.
So I do like that about it. And I really enjoyed myself. Ray Liotta, rest in peace. Better actor than. Oh, I get why he had. I won't say better actor than I expected. I don't know enough about his acting, and I don't. I can't recall a bad performance of his. So I get like because I'm assuming this is early in his career, earlier.
Yeah.
So I get how he got to be the level he is in it to. Already said Joe Pesci is a. I thought Joe Pesci was an underappreciated actor. Apparently, I was the only one underappreciating him. I didn't know he had
Icon.
gotten. Yeah, I've always liked Joe Pesci. Uh, Probably because I got the Joe Pesci light in the Goodfellas, and so when I see Joe Pesci, it's like 1 to 1. I like this guy. So you know what I mean? But having seen Raging Bull and now this, and over the years seeing him in a couple other roles where, especially these two, where he's in a more serious aspect as opposed to only just being the guy that says fuck a lot. Uh you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got even more of an appreciation for an actor I really like in Joe Pesci from watching these. So I've enjoyed myself a lot.
Great.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I love this film. It's a I think it's a great movie with filled with great performances. Um, it's probably my favorite Scorsese of the De Niro verse. I want to say that's a bold claim because they've done a bunch of them. And I truth be told, I haven't checked out Killers of the Flower Moon yet. Um, but there's a lot of great De Niro Scorsese combos, and I think this one is going to be my favorite of them. Um, but I really enjoyed watching it again here with you, and really glad we talked about it. So thanks for indulging me on our little Scorsese side road trip here.
Yeah, it's been very enjoyable. All right, so I guess we need to pick something for next week, right?
Yes.
Well, June's coming up very soon. Actually, we're mid-June. Hell, it's actually probably right at or around the summertime at this point. And so, why not go for an anime class? Because I don't think you've seen this movie, but it's a film known as Summer Wars. Have you seen that?
Summer Wars.
Yes, it's an anime film.
Okay.
Summer Wars. We're gonna do that.
Sweet.
Yeah. If you want to catch anything else of ours, obviously you can catch us on this channel. We got shows every Saturday called You Don't Watch Sports. Two casual sports fans with three topics, help you sprinkle a little sports information into your sports conversation. And we're your guiding light through the sea that is sports talk. I also we also have another show on this channel called Mocked Draft. Go ahead and check that out. We draft some few things. It's a very fun show, very light, fun. Talk about things, just very draft things into various situations. Check that out as well. I also can be found elsewhere on YouTube on the Whatever We Want podcast. Do it a good friend of mine, good friend of the show, Super Jazz.
Super Jazz.
Thank you very much, as nature intended. Yeah, we talk about just that, whatever we want.
It's back.
Yeah, it is back. It's no longer
It's
on
back.
hiatus. It's no longer on
I
hiatus.
called for it, folks. I called for it. I made this happen.
You did.
I'm taking this victory as my own. I brought back whatever we want. Thank me in the comments.
And you can also find me on Twitter and Twitch at Giotavi. That's Giotavi. Come on in, stop on by. Bill, you got anything else you want to say to the folks?
Nope.
All right. Well, guys, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week with Summer Wars. Adiosness.